Rise and Shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
You're on Rise and Shine with Matt and Fel all across Australia. And joining us on the line is my good friend Stewart Beveridge. He's part of the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team, and he's been a great help in many disasters around our nation and around the world over the years. It's good to have you on the line, mate. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, friends. It's wonderful for me to be with you this morning. It's a beautiful, clear day out here in Brisbane, and I'm looking forward to conversing with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Stewart. I wonder if you could start off by telling us what your role is. What is it that you do?
I have the privilege of leading a group of chaplains that work beside Samaritans Purse Disaster Relief Australia. We go to the floods and the fires and the natural disaster events that our country lives with, as part of the dry, hot summers or the pouring wet, whatever it is. And we work alongside homeowners and we care for them. We help clean up the mess in the aftermath of disasters. And then our chaplain team, it brings that emotional care and spiritual support for the team of volunteers with Disaster Relief Australia, Samaritans Purse, and the homeowners that we're working with as well.
Wow.
And I remember over the years, mate, we've had you on at the Lismore floods, we've had you on at the fires in Victoria, we've had you on in floods and fires, in the Burke Street Mall massacre years ago. Like, we've had you on at all these horrific things that are happening. But the good thing is you guys get to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Yeah. You get to love on the people that are going through it tough. It must be rewarding, hey?
Yeah, it really is, Matt and Fel. Bringing hope in Jesus' name is really the ministry that we are so involved in. Standing alongside people as the Samaritans Purse volunteers are helping clean out, or standing at memorial sites, like you said, in the aftermath of like Burke Street or the Christchurch mosque shooting a few years ago, and being involved there just creates that sense of peace, and people just need a listening ear. They want someone who will just let them tell their story, and give them the space, hold that space for them, without judgment, without interrupting, without trying to put our own story against theirs, like we're comparing. Just listening and supporting and affirming that they're a human being with dignity and worth, no matter what their background, no matter what their story or journey. There is a God in heaven who loves them and is committed to bringing the best for them, even through sometimes the worst that life can throw at them. God doesn't turn his back on his kids, and that is a bright light, often in a very dark place, and we get the privilege as chaplains of walking alongside people and living that before them, but also talking with them about it as they've shared their story.
Sounds like you get incredible access to some people in some really tough situations where oftentimes you think that the government would try and keep out Christ from it, but it's amazing that they're sending you in. What sort of reactions do you get from people when you bring God into the picture there, Stewart? I'm just thinking of mums and with little kids and sitting in some really tough times, and you come along and bring that life. What's the response?
Yeah, for the homeowners themselves, if they have experience of Christianity lived well, then often it's open arms. Come and just let me put on the kettle and I'll just talk to you. For people who haven't had a great experience of Christianity lived well, they're often a little more reserved. It's almost like on the first day it's just standing there watching everything happen around, and by the end of the first day, into the second day, they're starting to ask questions. Who are you people? You're all volunteers. Where did you come from? Why are you here? Who's paying for you to be here? What does it mean on your shirts? Sharing hope. Or, serving in Jesus' name for Samaritans Purse. What does all this mean? And it's a gateway to conversations. I think as far as the access that we are afforded by the government, the answer there is the beauty and the wonder of the local church. no matter what town we're in, if there is a Christian church that we can partner with and identify with, then we're not there in our own name. We're there because we're partnering with, your local church, and some of the locals, community members that attend the church are working with us. They've got an orange shirt on, so they're cleverly disguised as a Samaritans Purse volunteer or something like that. But they're people that can build relationship with you, and they're people that you already maybe know. They live in the same town, maybe drive down the same street. But it's a way of the church stepping into this crisis area and building relationship through acts of service. We, Samaritans Purse and the Billy Graham team, come in with the reality of we're here to care for you, and we're here to provide, the tools that'll help you get the job done. But the local church are the champions.
Yeah.
And when we point to Jesus through the church, it's an attractive model for empowering the local church to care for people that they can have ongoing relationship with.
Yeah, that is fantastic. We are chatting with Stewart Beveridge from the Billy Graham Association and the Rapid Response Team and Samaritans Purse. We're going to continue this conversation. In particular, we're going to talk about the work they've been doing in Papua New Guinea recently. That's coming up real soon here on Vision. You're on Rise and Shine with Matt and Fel all across Australia. And joining us on the line today is Stewart Beveridge from the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team and Samaritans Purse. Stewart, we've been talking a bit about how you guys have done a lot of work around Australia, but recently you've been in Papua New Guinea doing some work on the ground there. Tell us what it's like, mate.
Thanks, Matt and Fel. The opportunity to go and serve with the local churches in New Guinea really came out of the overwhelming news reports that we all saw on the TV and heard about on the radio and on our social feeds. In May this year, when a section of a mountain really just fell out and came roaring down this valley and demolished the village that was at the foot of that valley. Aid groups from around the world had responded in different levels, and so our leadership down in Sydney thought that we too could have a valuable part to play. So that began a opportunity for Mark Bennett, the Australian Executive Director, and I, and one of our media people, a young fellow called Dan. We went up to the Mount Hagen area and met with church leaders there to just try and understand what is happening and where the needs are. We didn't want to duplicate what someone else had done, but we were going up there in faith that God had some purpose for us in a unique way to support the local churches and to communicate God's care to them.
Mate, there was a lot of lives lost up there too, hey?
Well, Matt, it's interesting. The reality is that yes, there was about 150 people that were killed in that landslide. It was terrible for those families. Some people lost everyone, and they alone survived. Others, the entire families were taken when that land slipped over the top of their village. I think that's part of the reality that landslips are just a normal part of life in New Guinea. We met with the Deputy Disaster Government Coordinator. His name was Kenneth Andrews, and he's a Christian man, and he sat with Mark and I and a few other people in the room, and he said, look, we have to deal with landslides all the time up here.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, this is pretty surreal to think standing in a country where the side of the mountain can come down at any time. But he said, look, the aid groups have been wonderful. They come from all over the place, and we're very thankful and grateful for what they've done. They've come in and they've left aid for us, and we've got everything we need in the aid department. He said, but you're not talking about doing aid like that. He said, Stuart, are you asking if you can come and equip our churches and particularly our pastors in how to respond appropriately in times of trauma and crisis? I said, yeah, that's the seminar and the leadership that I provide.
That's great.
In that space. And he said, if you can come and do that, he said, if you can equip our pastors to be more able to respond with compassion and understanding in times of trauma, then you will do a great service for our communities. He says, I support you being here. He says, because yes, you'll help this generation deal with the trauma that they've prepared or been through. He says, but you'll also help the next generation.
Fantastic.
And I thought that is the beauty and the wonder of the local church, living in faith, in community. That was a wonderful experience. And so I've been back again. I'm only home about a week now. Been over there, and I had the opportunity of way up high in the Highlands in this little community called Kumbas, which is up in the Enga province, of leading 110 pastors through a one-day training called Sharing Hope in Crisis. Yeah.
Wow.
And they go back out to their villages and their little communities, with this, really it's first aid level training. It's not, we're not making counsellors out of people, but we are giving them an insight to what trauma does to humans and to how to be appropriate and care well for people in that situation.
Oh, Stewart, that's great.
Yeah, 110 people. What a wonderful opportunity to equip leaders like that.
And to share hope in a really challenging time. Stewart, thank you so much for having a chat with us. If people are touched and want to find out more about the great work being done, where should they go? Is there a website or perhaps on socials?
There sure is. Our socials are out there as well, but if you look for the billygraham.org.au, that is our main website. The Samaritans Purse website in Australia is one word, SamaritansPurse.org.au. And look on Facebook as well, and I'm sure you'll find us there too.
Wonderful. Fantastic, mate. And Phil doesn't know this, but a while back, Robbo and Becky actually went on site with Samaritan's Purse when you guys had you got a big truck, where people come and get coffee and food and supplies. And they were actually did an outside broadcast with the Samaritan's Purse crew.
That would be amazing.
So maybe, mate, you can invite us to come and do that sometime, hey? Somewhere around Australia.
I'd love to, mate.
Yep.
That's our disaster relief trailer. It's a Bunnings on wheels, we call it.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a wonderful piece of equipment that allows us to provide the equipment for 70 to 80 volunteers a day to come and serve with our group. So,
fantastic. All right, mate. We'll keep in touch. Thanks for your time, Stewart. God bless.
God bless. Thanks so much.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.